Earlier this week, while at Camp David with the CEO of Uber for some reason, Donald Trump decided to do a press briefing where he was asked about his comments from earlier in the day, where he confirmed that he would like to see California Governor Gavin Newsom arrested. That, obviously, is a pretty shocking statement because Gavin Newsom has not broken any laws by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, Donald Trump's own border czar, who initially made the claim, Tom Homan, admitted Newsom has not broken any laws, but Trump says, nevertheless, arrest him anyway. But it wasn't just that he responded to the question of what Newsom did to warrant an arrest. It's how Trump said it that should have raised major red flags. I will show you that clip in just a minute, but first, a very quick word from today's video sponsor. First, Elon Musk gutted federal agencies. Then he slashed public services. Now, his people are fighting to keep their corruption under wraps. But a federal judge ruled Musk's alleged Department of Government efficiency is not exempt from open records laws. Judge Christopher Cooper made it clear that the Trump administration completely failed to argue against the fact that DOJ is acting with massive unchecked power. Ground News analyzed dozens of sources covering this from across the political spectrum. And comparing coverage, you'll see how some spin this as a partisan issue while others call it what it is, proof of corruption. Same story, different spin, and exactly why you can't blindly trust the first headline you see without knowing the biases behind them. That's why I've been relying on my partners at Ground News for a long time. If you like my show, you'll love how their app and website lets you compare coverage with context on each source's political bias, credibility, and financial incentives. This way, you're not just taking one source's word for what's happening, you're seeing past the layers of selective reporting shaping your worldview. Billionaires and political agendas are controlling more and more of our media, deciding what they want us to see and think. Ground News, on the other hand, it's independent, it's nonpartisan, and only committed to helping us think critically about the stories shaping everything from public opinion to public policy. And since I can't track everything Trump and Musk are doing or undoing alone, I've curated feeds that track them for me, from credible sources, to make sure I'm giving you all the most reliable information. And now you can too, for nearly half the price. Go to ground.news/Farron to get the same unlimited access Vantage plan that I use for just $5 a month. Take back control of how you stay informed today. The link is in the video description.
You got an warrant his arrest. What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals. And
that man sounded like a drunk. Like Donald Trump in that clip I just showed you sounded like he was more impaired than anyone I've ever listened to. And I remember my college partying days, and still, those dudes made more sense than Donald Trump did there, and they slurred a hell of a lot less. I mean, Donald Trump could not form words in that clip. I think the impairment... There's something wrong with him. I mean, there's multiple things wrong with the clip, and I will get through all of them, but first and foremost, that slurring in the middle of the day for a guy who allegedly doesn't touch alcohol ever. Like, if you did drink, that would be a more plausible explanation. That would be a more satisfying explanation. But given the fact that you do not drink, according to you, we can only assume that there is something deeply wrong within your brain that is causing you to not be able to form words. Yet, I didn't see a single story about that. I didn't see any outlet talking about the fact that Donald Trump could not get the words properly out of his mouth. And as usual, I'll use the Biden example. If Biden had done that, which he did on occasions, we got headlines for days. Not just one or two the next day or the evening of, days and days of analysis and segments of people in corporate media talking about, is the president okay? Does he have a drinking problem? Trump does it, nobody bats an eye. And nobody bats an eye about the fact that he is talking about imprisoning a Democratic governor just because he hates him. He admitted right there in the answer to the question, and this is obviously the second major problem with it, that Newsom didn't do anything. His biggest crime was running for office, I think. That's not even a crime. And the reporter didn't even push back. I mean, absolutely pathetic media here in the United States. Pathetic reporters that refuse to push back on anything this guy says because they're terrified of losing access to the most accessible president we have ever had. I'll give Trump credit for that. He loves talking to the press, and they love talking to him. And that is why they do not push back. That is why they do not do the stories about his very obvious mental impairments, even when they're right 10 feet away from him and can see these impairments. They won't talk about it because they will lose access. And as I said over at Ring of Fire the other day, that is why this situation in LA, that's why this is going to get so much worse. Not because most of the protesters are violent, the vast majority of them are not. The problem is we have a media that is bowing down to Donald Trump at a rate we have never seen before. They will push whatever narrative they think he wants them to push, which is that there is violence in the street, everybody is horrible, everything Trump is doing is right, even though these orders are coming from a man that cannot form a coherent sentence because his brain is so broken. Did you know that you might be missing out on wonderful content from me? I mean, you're here already because clearly you like what you see. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, share them with your friends and family, but also follow me across the rest of the social media world. And it's not that hard to do. Whether it's X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, on every one of those platforms, you can find me at the username @FarronBalanced. Simple enough, right? So get on it. And if you don't feel like going to each one of those outlets individually, lucky for you, we have links in the description of this video to take you right to my pages across all of social media. So don't miss a minute. And while you're at it, make sure you're also subscribed to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel, which I have been hosting for many, many years now. We've got more than 1 million subscribers over there, and there is fresh content over there every single day of the week. So again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, go subscribe to Ring of Fire at youtube.com/The Ring of Fire and @FarronBalanced across every social media platform that, of course, is not considered just a far-right hellscape. Well, maybe Twitter is, but that's a story for a different day.